This is the moment far-right Danish politician Rasmus Paludan burned a copy of the Quran during his so-called Quran burning tour, which had police protection. This year alone, several far-right and anti-Muslim groups in Sweden, Norway, and the Netherlands have done the same. Rarely are such scenes broken up by the police. But why do these far-right groups do this, and what do they gain from it?
Look at the Islamization of our country. There is a lot of Moroccan scum in Holland who makes the streets unsafe.
The Islamic ideology is a threat to our freedom.
If you look to, let's say, Geert Wilders, the famous Dutch leader of the far right, he basically argued that the Quran should be banned because it's a fascist book. But you know, the means these people use when burning the Quran or targeting Muslims, it's basically saying that these are the fascists and we should defend ourselves from that.
When it comes to Muslims, European countries seem to apply a double standard. For example, Holocaust denial is not acceptable and they take legal actions about these people. But when it comes to Islamophobia, when it comes to Islamophobic actions like burning Quran, they seem to ignore this.
In April, Paludan declared he would embark on an anti-Muslim tour in Sweden. His plan was to visit cities and towns with large Muslim populations with the intent of burning copies of the Quran during the month of Ramadan. Paludan's motive was to drum up support for Danish legislative elections that were scheduled for September. And instead of preventing him, the Swedish police accompanied Paludan and protected him during his tour.
The issue of police protecting these people who burn Quran is very problematic in my opinion. So police should protect its citizens not only from physical harm. Police also should protect the citizens from psychological harm.
Not far away from Sweden, Lars Thorsen, the leader of an extremist far-right group called Stop the Islamization of Norway, also burned a copy of the Quran in Oslo in July. And this was not the first time that the anti-Muslim group had been involved in burning the Quran. The group had pulled similar stunts in the past and got away with it every time. In October, Pegida, an anti-Islam movement in the Netherlands, also announced that they would burn a copy of the Quran in the city center of Rotterdam. Despite several police warnings, their leader, Edwin Wagensveld, went ahead with the rally. But this time, the provocation was thwarted by the Dutch police. Wagensveld was arrested, and the rally ended before it started.
People like Geert Wilders in the Netherlands, or the AFD in Germany, or the Lega in Italy, and so on and so forth. All of these political parties, they aim for power. When they use all of that anti-Muslim mobilization, it's for nothing else but their own political success.
Every year, thousands of anti-Muslim incidents are recorded across Europe, including physical attacks on mosques and people. And according to the European Islamophobia report of 2021, countries such as the UK and France became hotspots for anti-Muslim hatred and Islamophobic incidents.
Islamophobia, a lot of people think it's a far-right thing. And of course, it started in the far right, but it's also a very leftish thing nowadays. And in the past, a lot of left-wing organizations said, well, we like the Muslim communities, we like minorities, etc., etc. But nowadays they say, well, those Muslim minorities are okay because of ethnicity, for example, but we're not okay with the things they think. And of course, that has to do with the religion. What we see now is that these left-wing organizations are shifting. So they're also becoming more and more Islamophobic, and they don't have the same arguments as the far right. But in the end, the result for us as a community is the same. So when it comes to the far right, they don't like the Muslims because of ethnicity or nationality, let's say. And when it comes to the left-wing organizations, they don't like you because of what you believe. So you're in between. And that's problematic because in most countries you have a mixed government. There's some right-wing elements, there's some left-wing elements. But if both of these elements are Islamophobic, then you have a problem as an individual Muslim, but also as a Muslim community, of course.
Policymakers are aware that Islamophobia is a growing challenge also in Europe. I think one of the things that we are seeing in these days is that on behalf of European institutions, there is really a lack of willingness of recognition of the problem. Like we have a resolution against anti-Semitism, we have a resolution against anti-Gypsyism. Do we have a resolution against Islamophobia or anti-Muslim racism or however you want to call it? No. So I think we also have to challenge the EU institutions that they do something against it, as much as we have to push on a national scale political representatives that they have to do something about it.